Greetings, Nick Bowcott with Sweetwater here, and today we're looking at something really cool, the new IK Multimedia AmpliTube Dimebag CFH collection. CFH, of course, is an acronym for Cowboys from Hell. We just heard Cowboys from Hell Distortion. Now let's listen to two more sounds. I'm going to play lead using the Gates intro solo patch, and the backing, which I've done, has the Gates clean sound as well. So Gates being Symmetry. Without further ado, I'm going to change guitars, change patch. Let's hear some more of this fine collection. Now, of course, I can't play like Dime, no one can, but wow, these sounds are really good, and they make you want to play Pantera stuff. Now, what makes this collection special is this. Not only is it official, but Grady Champion, Grady Dragon Champion, as Dime called him, Dime's tech from start through finish. Unfortunately, the finish, as we know, Dime left us in 2004. Grady was the guy, so he knew his rig inside and out. So rather than me talk about that, we're going to interview Grady in a minute, and he'll tell us all about how this came to be and what he did. To show you just how versatile and guitar friendly this package is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change guitars for almost every riff. So I've got different pickups, active, passive, hot, not so hot, different scales. I'm tuned to E mainly because that's basically what Cowboys was tuned to, except Dime did tune a hair flat, as he called it. I think 430 or 432, whatever, and a couple of drop Ds. So let's listen to some more stuff, shall we? So I'm going to change guitars. I'm using the iRig Stomp IO to do the patch changes, and for those of you who are true Dimebag fans, you'll appreciate the patch number I'm using for Cowboys from Hell Distortion. It's the only one it could be, 33. Our next preset is called Clash Distortion, and I'm imagining that means clash with reality. So I've changed to a Schecter Keith Marrow. Let's check this bad boy out. Right, another guitar change, this time a washbone loaded with EMGs, and on to the next preset. It's called Dominate Distortion. That's a pretty effective gate, and that's a big part of the Dime sound, clamping it down really hard for those staccato stabs. Next patch, Heretic Distortion. I'm guessing that means heresy, so let's have at it. The next preset is called Live Distortion, so I'm just going to play a few riffs using different guitars just to hear what that sounds like. Let's go. Let's see how Live Distortion handles a drop D guitar, shall we? Sorry, I couldn't resist that. I'm tired of changing guitars, so for the last few sounds, I'm going to stick with this one, and then we're going to get on to the interview with Grady, which I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to hear. This is called Lead Solo. Next one, Lead Solo, Ambience. This next one's called Lead Solo Wah, and I'm using the IO Stomp to control it. Now we come to the last preset, which you've already heard, the Gates intro solo. Let's quickly check it out without a backing track. And that's enough from me. Let's get on to what you're all really waiting for, the interview with Grady. So without further ado, here he is, the Dragon. First and foremost, Grady, thanks for taking the time, my friend. You've known Darrell for a long time, or knew him, I should say, unfortunately. Give us a brief synopsis of how you guys met and how you became involved as his tech.
I went to junior high school with him, and I knew him then. And he went to a different high school, but I started working in a music store that he was giving lessons in. And so I started taking lessons from him, and then we started becoming buds. And then my band started. I had a band, and we opened up for him for Pantera, and they ended up taking us around all over.
How did you go from being the opening act guitar player to being his guitar tech? What happened there?
It was just the night that they got signed, man. We opened up for him at that gig, and I don't know what all happened. I can't even really remember, but I just know that the next day he called me and just asked me if I wanted to be his tech, and I said, yeah. So I was like playing in the opening band. I was playing through all of his stuff except the wireless, and then I was doing Pantera, so I was doing like double duty for a while.
Cool. So you were literally there from the very start, even pre-Cowboys. So there's no better person for IK Media to have as a consultant than you.
Thank you. I came in after Power Metal was released. Right at that time, and so yeah, I've been around the tone for a long time.
Great, and the fact you're a player means you not only appreciate what it sounds like, but how it feels like, and that's kind of pretty important.
That, yeah, being a player is key, and just the fact that, he taught me everything that I need to know to feel him, to feel his tone, and I think the most important thing he taught me was just how to listen.
Gotcha. Now, how did you get involved with IK Media? What happened there?
I got a call from Kim, who's their manager and manages the estate, and said that they wanted to do this project, and said that it kind of doesn't really move forward without me. And at first I was like really leery because I'm an amp and cabinet guy, and it was kind of uncharted waters for me. But I sat and thought about it and talked with some friends, and it's just, I just thought it was time, the right thing to do.
Yeah, having played it, I would have to agree with you, because you're one of the guys keeping the legacy alive, and I think that's really important.
Dime brought me into the music industry, so I owe everything to him. So, I'll, be keeping his legacy alive as long as I can.
When you joined as a consultant, how far were IK in the process?
They already had, the amp, the jazz chorus, and, which is a no-brainer, and the Randall, which is pretty much a no-brainer, and they had everything. We just made some, adjustments on things.
And the other one that's key that a lot of people don't realize is his MXR flanger doubler, the rack mount. How key was that?
That was, that was a bear to get right. The guys did an amazing job, at first, and then I was just like, it's just not right. And so I pictured all the components, took pictures of all the components and sent to them. and sent it back. And I'm like, it still needs more tweaking. So I ended up just sending mine to Italy so they could go over it then. And then once they did that, then we went over it again with a fine tooth comb to get that right. So that was a pretty big bear of it, you know.
Cool. So it really is from the, I was going to say from the horse's mouth, from the dragon's mouth that they got it right. And picking the components and actually getting the unit itself, that's pretty key. Now, you're one of the last standing members of the inner circle. Did you lean on anyone else within the inner circle to make sure you got everything right? Because this is a pretty key job.
You know, at first I thought I could kind of handle it all on my own, but then I would get ear fatigue and I would get, you know, frustrated with some ideas. But I reached out to Sterling Winfield, who, you know, was there for all the recordings from Far Beyond Driven On, you know, and all Dimes, a lot of Dimes 4-track and personal stuff. And I also reached out to Terry Date, you know, who had a pretty good memory of the Cowboy days, you know, Cowboys from Hell recording session. So I leaned on their ears and their expertise too, which helped quite a bit.
Wow, so that really is the brain trust from that all-important era.
Yeah, there's, you know, unfortunately, there's just us left.
Yeah, sad but true. Good title song. Now, so once you got the components right, and obviously the order of those components is critical, and you made sure they got that right too, because I remember Dime telling me that Kurt from Crowbar had the same exact rig, but his order was different and he sounded different.
He did.
Now so once you'd done all of that, then I guess IK did the presets. Are you happy with them?
Yeah, I was happy with them. You know, I mean, I think there was a little bit of artistic leeway, you know, on some of the presets, but you know, I did the main overall tone. You know, I went over that and made sure that the EQ was right and the feel was right, and they did the presets, you know, which I okayed, because I think that you know, I think with anything, you know, it takes a little bit of your own thoughts and your own passion about the music to make it come through.
Gotcha. Well, I can say as a player, from my personal point of view, it makes me want to play metal, makes me want to play Pantera. It really does.
I know, me too, man. It makes me just want to get it out and just, you know, bang it out and make a bunch of noise.
And the other cool thing I do like about this project is you can actually go in and tweak it to your own personal taste and also to your own personal guitar, which is cool too. So then once things written,
absolutely. You know, there's like you know, there's just so many things that you can do with the tone once you have it, you know, miking wise and speaker wise even, and stuff that it's just amazing. You know, it just makes you want to turn it up and go for it. And that's what you know, once we got to the end of it, I was just like, yeah, that's it. I missed that tone. I missed it.
Yeah, you're speaking for a vast generation of people who miss that tone. So thanks for reinventing that part of the steel, my friend. And
yeah, man, my pleasure.
Thanks for taking the time, brother, and I'll see you in Dallas soon.
Okay, we'll see you right for now, man.
You got it. Take care, brother. See ya.
Peace.